I've already covered first and second, so let's keep going around the infield and talk about the top 10 third basemen for fantasy baseball this year. I keep saying over and over again how thin third base is this season. You're about to find out why. At number 10, let's start with, how about the top prospect in all of baseball? That would be Gunnar Henderson of the Baltimore Orioles. I went in depth on Henderson in my video on the top 10 prospects for this year. There's a lot to like about his game. He's got power, but also the contact skills. He has a chance to earn an everyday job. I mean, we're talking the top prospect for a reason here, but I will just say, let's not get carried away as we often do with prospects. If you recall, a guy like Vladimir Guerrero Jr. just a couple years ago, his much hyped debut, even more highly valued coming in than Henderson is, and his rookie season was okay, didn't flop, didn't break out. I mean, it was just, at the end of the day, a fine season. Home run numbers in the teens, 70-something RBIs. Not somebody that really carried you in fantasy, but also a guy you couldn't really drop throughout the season because you're always waiting for that breakout. I'm not saying Henderson will be that, but at the same time, I'm not expecting him to be a league winner. So as great as he is, I'm going to value him a lot more in a dynasty or keeper league than in a redraft league. I think because of how thin this position is, he can slide in here and be a starting caliber player at third base for fantasy, but I'm not willing to put him any higher than this just right yet. At number 9, Alec Bohm of the Philadelphia Phillies. Now, Bohm's an interesting case. Coming through the minors, was thought to be more of a power guy. I mean, he's got the 6'5 frame. He was putting up some good home run totals, but then came into the majors and really wasn't going deep that often. Didn't really do a lot initially, but last year we saw a huge leap in contact rate and the batting average was excellent. In fact, last year he's expecting batting average in the 98th percentile, but only 13 home runs over the entire season. Now, he did raise his launch angle, which helped a lot more line drives to fall in, but you gotta wonder, is there another adjustment he can make that can help some of these balls now leave the yard? He's definitely in the favorable atmosphere to do that. Philadelphia, a team that basically is just all sluggers and a pretty good ballpark in order which to hit home runs. Can he do it? Can he take that next step forward and get to 20 plus home runs? At least we know you have this batting average to fall back on. I'm not expecting necessarily a full-fledged breakout, but I wouldn't be shocked if it happened. At number 8, I got Matt Chapman of the Toronto Blue Jays. Now you think this is kind of a one-trick pony here. He's a power hitter. That's it. Last 2 seasons, it's pretty much identical. 27 home runs, 72 RBIs. 27 home runs, 76 RBIs. Career 240 hitter, and he was below that mark the last 2 seasons here. So you're taking a slight hit in average, you're getting good but not really great power numbers. What is the appeal? I will say he's in a great lineup, a great atmosphere as well. Kind of disappointed that he didn't do better in Toronto the last 2 seasons. Now, if you read the Baseball Forecaster put out by Ron Chandler and guys like Ray Murphy who do these write-ups, some of them think that he might have this next level, maybe could repeat his 2019 levels, which was 37 home runs. If you think about it, he could do that in Oakland. Why isn't he doing it in Toronto? The hard hit numbers are there. He's got what it takes. Could we see Chapman kind of rebound to these elite power numbers? I think it's possible he does better. But at the same time, I'm really only putting him this high on my list because I consider him kind of a safe plan B if you don't go early on third base in a draft. At 7, going with Alex Bregman of the Astros. At this stage of Bregman's career, he still has superior plate discipline. That eye is still there. He's going to walk a ton. He's not going to strike out. And the batting average is spot on. But the power is just okay. And his speed is pretty much completely gone. So you're not getting stolen bases anymore, and the power, good but not great. Bregman, definitely one of those guys, better in a points format than a roto format. What I would say here is don't reach based on name value. You're not getting the same Alex Bregman from a couple of years ago, but a pretty safe floor. I would say you're not going to be too worried that he's going to just completely fall apart this season or hurt your team. Now we're getting to the top tier guys at the position. Let's have Austin Riley first at number 6. One look at his StatCast profile, and you see he knocks the cover off the ball. He's pretty good at that. but he's not all slugger. He's managed a pretty healthy batting average, and if Riley has really proven he can be a consistent performer and did it without Freddie Freeman last year in the lineup, it really doesn't matter who is in that lineup for Atlanta. They seem to always find a way to generate runs, and Riley is at the heart of it. At number 5, I'm barely giving an edge over Riley to Nolan Arenado. Mr. Consistent, if there ever was one. 30 home runs, 100 RBIs, it's in the bag. 7 seasons in a row, he's gotten at least that mark, and the last 2 out of Colorado. I think we don't have to worry about that anymore. Now, some people are concerned because the batting average did drop off his first year as a Cardinal, but bounced back to a very nice, healthy 293 last season. Only thing we can say is that at this stage, maybe his ceiling isn't quite as high as the guys I'm about to get to. If you're not pulling the trigger in the first few rounds at third base, he is as safe of an option at third base as you can think of. And then maybe we can consider Manny Machado also to be Mr. Consistent. You know what you're getting from him. Excellent production across the board. Now, we did think this was going to be a potential walk year for him. The Padres just continue to throw money at everyone who comes across their way. Manny Machado got an 11-year deal to be locked up there. Now, is he going to play better with a contract as opposed to for a contract? I don't think in Machado's case we need to worry too much about that. One thing he does have in his favor is possibly the best lineup that San Diego has put out there since he's been there. Now I got Xander Bogaerts and Juan Soto hitting in front of him. That should do pretty well for his RBI chances. At number 3, another guy who just got paid, and that's Rafael Devers in Boston. They locked him up long term, one of the league leaders in exit velocity for 4 years running. Now, his power output did drop quite a bit last year in terms of home runs, but his average went up. I think he'll be fine, not too worried. His home run total should resurface closer to 30. Unlike Machado, here's the concern with Devers. This Boston lineup is nowhere near what it looked like a couple of years ago. Trevor Story could be out for a long time. We don't really know. Bogaerts is gone, as I mentioned. JD Martinez gone. Christian Vasquez. The top of the order should be fine if Yoshida pans out. Still, you got to wonder if Devers is going to see more guys pitching around him. That said, his contact rate, his power, it's too good to pass on. I feel really safe with Devers at third base, and he's a guy I'm actually targeting a lot in my fantasy drafts. At number 2, let's talk about the top prospect from a year ago, and that was Bobby Witt Jr. Not too often you're going to get someone at third base who can steal you 30 or more bags, but Witt will do that. Now, slated to play shortstop initially, at least that's the plan. He does qualify at third and short in fantasy. He went 20-30 a year ago in his rookie campaign, only hit 254, so the only knock you can think about in terms of fantasy is the average is just mediocre, and only walked 4% of the time. Could develop some more patience. Maybe some pitchers start to attack him more, find some holes in his swing. But look, this guy has great hit tool. Not too worried about that. The speed is obviously the draw here, and he's got the power to go with it. But at number 1, it has to be J-Ram. Jose Ramirez might have been AL MVP if not for a guy named Judge. But he finished number 3 in the majors in RBIs, 126 ribbies last year. Not only the top third baseman, but one of the top players in all of fantasy is surefire first-round pick. Over the last 6 seasons, his 162 game averages 35 home runs, 110 RBIs, 107 runs, 27 steals, and a 280 average. He is the definition of a 5-category contributor, or should I say stud. The floor is as high as you can imagine. So Jose Ramirez, no doubt the top third baseman. Again, you want to know who's the top first baseman in the game? Check out my rankings right here.